Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today we're going to talk about how the FBI took down the world's dumbest and filthiest hacker. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to give you a bit of context here. Anytime big cyber attacks and hacks happen, what happens? Usually stuff gets leaked out. Databases, personal information, credit card stuff, so on and so forth. But where does it get leaked out to, okay? It's not like you can just go on the internet and look up a leak by yourself, all right, willy-nilly. They usually get uploaded to dark web forum websites or just hacker forums in general. One of those hacker forums a while back was known as Raid Forums, and if you're looking at this, the domain has been seized. Of course, it was from this fall that another forum ended up kicking around. One that we actually looked at from time to time last year when all those big cyber attacks were happening. That forum was known as Breached Forums, and Breached Forums was also taken down by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And of course, what was happening in that situation was not just the forum was taken down, but the person running the forum. Now, this handsome lad here, captured from a mugshot in the Alexandria Sheriff's Office, is known as Pom Pom Purin. Now, for anybody that knows Pom Pom Purin is, if I can just get a quick Google explanation, this is what it actually looks like, the avatar. It's a Sanrio character. It's a golden retriever known for his yellow fur and signature brown beret. Swear to God, what lore is there in Sanrio stuff? Anyways, this isn't about Sanrio material or cute yellow golden retrievers. This is about computer hackers and individuals running hacker forums that end up getting pinched by the FBI for some charges that I didn't even expect at all. Let's get down into business. So the reason why we're talking about it is what has happened is this person was currently violating their parole. January 4th, 2024. The administrator behind defunct cybercrime haven Breached Forums was arrested after violating his parole. Now, for a while, Breached Forums actually survived a little bit under another administrator known as Baphomet, who tried keeping the site alive as much as they can. And while the site is alive to some capacity, given the fact that the FBI took down Pom Pom Purin and got access to their systems, there was actually a lot of fear as to how much information the Federal Bureau actually had and how safe it could be to use the website. For instance, Baphomet wrote, "Hey everyone, this will be my final update on Breached. As I've decided to shut it down, I'm aware this news will not please anyone, but it's the only safe decision now that I've confirmed that the Glowies likely have access to Pom's machine." They did. In fact, here's some footage of Pom's house getting raided. So here, no joking around, this is the actual Federal Bureau investigating in, and they actually raided this small house. It wasn't just the FBI, it was like the Department of Homeland Security and a few other agencies that actually hopped in and grabbed a bunch of information from this house. Computers, hard drives, so on and so forth. Standard shit. I mean, look at that. They're grabbing all the evidence walking away. The Glowies have taken over. As I said early in all this, anything related to production breached infrastructure was locked down immediately. However, I was kind enough to leave a few old non-essential servers completely unchanged. One of those servers I left unchanged is an old CDN from months ago that no longer hosts any CDN files or configs. So yeah, because the Federal Bureau actually raided the main runner's house, everyone else pretty much feared how much information the feds had and how unsafe actually using the site was going to be. And actually, many users on the website actually worried about themselves if they actually potentially left some actual information that could identify them. But that said, a long time has passed and the FBI clearly was only interested in Pom Pom Purin, the site runner. So he pays from what I understand, a $300,000 bond as he awaited sentencing somewhere this month. And how did he violate bond, ladies and gentlemen? Well, apparently he violated his parole by using a computer and VPN services without the required monitoring software enabled. So yeah, he was basically put on digital house arrest, decided I'm just gonna take off the ankle monitor for a little bit, and once that happens, feds just jump right in. Usually you need that monitoring software so the FBI knows that even if you are using a computer, obviously we want to make sure what sites you go to, who you talk to. Once you're under bond or parole or any kind of federal stewardship legally, you pretty much lose all rights to your privacy as far as everything here is considered. So those three charges actually include conspiracy to commit access device fraud, unauthorized solicitation, and of course, one big charge, possession of CP. So you might be wondering, whoa, that's a big charge. You did not expect that. Really? Really? You didn't expect the hacker forum Pom Pom Purin guy to potentially have that charge? I honestly didn't expect it either, don't worry, because that's a pretty serious charge, and I wanted to actually look into exactly how that charge actually got laid onto Pom Pom Purin. So again, looking at an actual document from the court, a court docket, one will actually lead through. They actually go over the entire website and a statement of facts as well too. So for instance, they say the US and the defendant, Pom Pom Purin, agreed the following facts are true and correct. So this is actually a guilty plea right here. From in and around March 2022 through March 15, 2023, the defendant conspired with other members of the website known as Breach Forums, including the Breach Forums mods and vendors, to commit and aid and abet the commission of the following offenses. So, the following offenses were to knowingly and with intent defraud, traffic in, and use one or more unauthorized access devices during a 1-year period, to wit, payment card data, bank routing, and account numbers, social security numbers, and login credentials. So again, B was without the authorization of the issuers of access devices to knowingly and with the intent to defraud, solicit a person for the purpose of selling unauthorized access devices, to wit, payment card data, bank routing, and account numbers. And then, in addition, Fitzpatrick knowingly falsely registered domain names, including breached VC, breached.io, breachedforums.com, net, org, so on and so forth, and knowingly used these domain names in the course of committing the offense described in paragraph 1. So these were the darknet forums where they would distribute and sell hacked information. And then, of course, further on, Pom Pom Purin knowingly and with the intent to defraud did aid and abet the solicitation of at least one person for the purpose of offering unauthorized access devices. And again, all of this led around towards hacking. But charge number 4 here, or actually mention number 4, not charge, further, as explained in more detail in paragraph 37 to 42, in the Southern District of New York, Fitzpatrick knowingly possessed and attempted to possess at least one matter containing one or more visual depictions that had been transported using a means and facility of interstate and foreign commerce, and in accessing interstate and foreign commerce in which visual depictions were produced using materials which had been mailed to or shipped or transported. By any means, including the computer, and the production of such visual depictions involved the use of minors engaging in explicit conduct, and with such visual depictions were of such conduct. So again, all of this information would have been stored on a Dell Inspiron 5593 laptop computer and a Samsung 870 QVO 4 terabyte solid state hard drive. I don't even have a solid state hard drive in this system that big. That's crazy. So basically, that's effectively what is to be understood out of the situation. He is a disgusting individual, and whether he was storing disgusting imagery like that for sale or personal consumption doesn't really matter. This is still a sick individual, and what they've done goes beyond far than just hacking databases or facilitating the sale of illegal information. That's honestly, in my opinion, like 10 steps below the CP charges. So here the FBI kind of lays down basically that Pom Pom Purin manages the official CDN, which is the Content Distribution Network. And of course, being that he was the one showrunner, obviously he's the one that had to be targeted. So here he actually talks about, do you want your database post to be on our official CDN? We're always looking for more databases to load onto our official CDN. So again, he's basically claiming to be the owner of this website, and obviously this isn't unknown knowledge. This is what just the feds put in to make it pretty evident. So again, he's also got the middleman service, where in a post initially made by Pom Pom Purin on Breached Forums, or later modified in around November 6, 2022, he announced a middleman service and explained the process for reaching out to him to initiate a transaction. So, Pom Pom Purin was actually involved in a lot of serious hacks as well, too. One of them was when he actually basically fished himself as the FBI. So there was a while where like a phony message basically scaring the shit out of people that they were actually hacked, or there was some crazy hacking group within their network stealing their data and exfiltrating it. What had happened was people looked at the email address that this message was sent from, and they were surprised that it came from eims@ic.fbi.gov. So when you see that domain, you probably assume, oh, it's actually the FBI. That is their domain. The problem is it wasn't actually the feds right over there. And Pom Pom Purin, on a now suspended Twitter account, basically said, check headers of this email. It's actually coming from the FBI server. I'm contacting you today because we located a botnet being hosted on your forehead. Please take immediate action. Thanks. Pom Pom Purin basically said a simple script replaced parameters regarding post requests, and he was starting to send messages like, hey, sexy, through the ic.fbi.gov. Imagine getting a message from the Federal Bureau, and it's just asking you how sexy you are. That's crazy, dude. That is a wild hack. But again, there was other information where, information from InfraGard, which was actually run by the FBI, to basically build, or it was kind of like an interior social network of big companies, big individuals, 80,000 members who had their information go out, where they basically discussed how to protect themselves in the world of constantly evolving cybersecurity. So it was a wild situation. And if you're interested on it, I have an entire video where I talked about the InfraGard situation. So yeah, time has passed, things have happened. Obviously in the last 2 years, some big time hacks occurred. But one hack that nobody really wanted to see happen was when the actual DC healthcare information, one of the DC healthcare exchanges, had their information breached. So here's the thing. I don't think law enforcement agencies really care about the average person, but the moment you start messing around with big time elites and politicians is the moment when the actual claws come out. And if the FBI seems like they ever are sitting on something and wasting their time, they will definitely show the full apparatus of their entire operation the moment you start going after some really powerful individuals. And this is where Washington, D.C., one of their health insurance, like the Health Benefit Exchange Authority, had suffered a data breach where a database allegedly containing personal information about 170,000 individuals were put up for sale. Being that this is D.C., there was some obvious understanding that some of these might have been some pretty powerful individuals who were obviously involved with government affairs. And of course, if you're looking at this censor thumbnail or this image, you probably realize this was hosted on breached forums. So what the FBI did was they placed an online covert employee, an OCE, within the entire website, and they started basically analyzing and trying to confirm if these people were more than just the facilitators of this healthcare breach. So in a follow conversation, Pom Pom Purin assured the covert officer, the official covert officer, that the funds would not be transferred to Jigsaw until the OCE had confirmed his or her access to the U.S. healthcare company accounting record. So here the Fed is asking, hey, just reply to your PM on breach. Just curious about how works, which was that middleman group, for buying network access. Like, do I get to confirm that the access actually has credit card numbers and ID photographs before the BTC gets released to the seller? And Pom is like, once you confirm you got access and got what was advertised, the funds will be released. If any issue arises, then it'll be figured out from there. We'll figure it out, dude. After the OCE confirms the funds were sent to, Pom Pom Purin Jigsaw provided a link to download files that included a means to gain apparent access to the U.S. healthcare company's account system. Jigsaw also provided a file containing driver's license photos, insurance cards, and credit cards on file paperwork for approximately 13 individuals that were obtained from the victim's network. So it wasn't just a matter of like, hey, these people had information sitting around. They provided the access that allowed the hacking to occur. Now again, what was final about it too in this plea was that Pom Pom Purin actually possessed 26 files containing visual depictions of minors on that 4 terabyte solid state drive. And some of the names over here, which obviously I'm not going to be putting in for YouTube's TOS sake, pretty much showed that they weren't names that he just had there as part of like a leak or a breach that could have occurred from some server. These were just sitting on here for what I assume to be personal consumption, God forbid any actual private sales. And so, ladies and gentlemen, one of the sickest hackers, not in a good way, mind you, was taken down by the Federal Bureau. The largest hacker forum was removed, and that marks the end of the story for one of the most disgusting hackers and also one of the most stupidest hackers imaginable. Reading through some of the official covert employee screamed Fed the entire time. how these people had no idea that they were talking to a Fed agent the entire time is a little bit shocking, okay? I know that the Feds are good at hiding themselves. You know, the glowies are good at turning off the glow. But from what I read, man, you got to be really stupid to think you were talking to somebody actually in the game. You were talking to somebody that pretty much had your death warrant written. And that's pretty much where it ends at, ladies and gentlemen. The FBI took down probably one of the stupidest hackers that I've ever seen, and rightfully so. And I really hope that Pom Pom Purin spends a good chunk of his life in a U.S. prison facility. Just because they need some time to dry out and understand that possessing illegal material and also being a general nuisance on the internet probably isn't the smartest thing to be doing. You see, at the end of the day, I honestly feel these people could have gotten away with doing what they did, but the moment they started to really play around with the US government and actually start attacking them quite directly was the moment the FBI basically stopped, swatting flies off of their shoulder and started to actually bring the hammer down. This is just one of those situations where all those Russian hacker groups, the reason why they don't hack the Russian government is because they know that the moment they start shitting where they eat, that's when the hammer comes down, and that's when their freedom is gone. And that's something that these guys should have probably realized, okay? You live in the United States, you literally live right in Fed County, and the moment you start playing around with them, they're not going to start playing around with you. They're going to go ready or not, and that's pretty much how it ends. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.